Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Laajune here. Now we back here with another video. Now today we'll be going over the developer update that just dropped a few minutes ago for Suicide Squad. Talk about the upcoming patches and their top priorities right now, what they're trying to fix when it comes to bugs. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now I will have the link for it in the description. You guys want to check it out for yourself. But we're going to be talking about the most important things that's coming along in this developer update. So we're going to go start about that. So of course, the first thing that we see is the top priority that they're focused on right now when it comes to fixing the game, when it comes to bugs. And that is the login issues and the server issues. As you know, this is something that has been affecting the game ever since the early access, where people haven't have access to log into the game. And with the server issues when it comes to playing multiplayer, it is really bad. Like, it has real bad server lag, because if you play multiplayer, the longer you play multiplayer, the server just gets laggier and laggier, and the delay is really, really bad. And that is something that affects the game itself, because multiplayer is the main key behind this game, so you can play with your friends and play online. And if it gets that server lag, you really can't do anything because it's so laggy. So I'm glad that this is their top priority, so they could get that out the way. And they did state that they see our frustration about it, and they agree it is unacceptable for players who are affected by this, and they gotta do better. And I understand how they stated it's not easy to crack it down because it's not one single issue. They said that it's several smaller issues that are affecting some players in some different ways. But we can only ask you to remain patient and keep giving us more information through customer support to help address the issue. So yeah, basically the way it's working for them is smaller issues that are affecting the server that's making it do this, and they basically have to reproduce those steps on how to figure out what is making it do this. And once they figure out the steps and what is causing them problems with the server lag, then they're able to fix it and get it out the way and put it in the patch. I know this because I worked in QA before. I know how, when it comes to fixing bug issues and all that, works. Now, server issues probably different, but when it comes to reproducing the steps and getting like the whole steps down on how to reproduce a bug like this, I can understand it. And this is why it's probably taking them so long, because they can't figure out the steps on what is causing the server lag issues. Now, they did state that why they release an in-game bug fix and balance patch first. Now, you know how this went. This was not a good thing to do. Like, when it comes to doing updates, the first thing you should do is not do nerfs and all that, because it's going to have a bad sour taste in people's mouths, especially when there's still some game-breaking bugs where people can't log in and server issues. So they did state, basically, balancing issues can be done by our design team with little to no effort for code support. Login issues and server issues are sadly something a designer cannot fix, and that is understandable. But however, we cannot delay changes that can be implemented quickly and improve parts of the game. So while we understand you might wonder and be frustrated around priorities, keep in mind we have different teams working on different issues in parallel. Pretty much what we already know so far, well, I know so far, and probably some people know so far when it comes to game development, there are different teams working on different things. So this was easier for them to get out, because the people that are working on it are the designers. They don't work on server issues and all that. They work on the gameplay stuff to improve it, do fixes and all that good stuff. So it was easier for them to put that out. Granted, it was the worst timing to ever put that out. It's just there are different teams working on different stuff. And so the designer team is qualified for fixing stuff when it comes to the gameplay itself. The other team, when it comes to the server issues and all that, they are designed to do that. So it's two completely different things. Now, we do have the patch when it comes to the leaderboard and all that. Honestly, this is really not a big deal, to be honest. We already know about the leaderboard. They refreshed it and all that. Like, it's really nothing crazy. We all know about the fire build, how that got nerfed to oblivion. The fire build it is so trash now. I mean, I haven't used the fire build before. I don't know how it was. I mean, I saw videos and stuff, but I just never used it because I didn't want to get comfortable doing that much damage. Honestly, like the way fire was, like, yeah, I was not gonna get comfortable with that at all. It's like, nah. But they state that what is coming next, they say that the highest priority within the code team is the moment first is to address the issues when it comes to players not having to log in the server. While that is happening, we want to share what else is in the works and what we're cooking up with the upcoming patches. So we got changes to the Prometheum game loop. So we're seeing an imbalance of players would need to play too many Metropolis missions to get Prometheum for incursion missions, killing time, or the mayhem missions. That is true. Some players have found ways to evaluate, I'm not saying that word, this by hunting the cargo knots that are spread around the city, which is great to see. I know we spotted that. Those things give out a lot of promethium, so that's good. So they stated that this is why we're planning to do a pretty big fundamental change to this loop. Raising Hell will reward 3,000 promethium for completing tier 1, and each subsequent tier will reward an increased amount of promethium. Essentially, Raising Hell will be the way to get promethium quickly. Now, Raising Hell is a thing that is in the open world that you can actually do and complete. Let me see. I think I could just show it in the game right now. I do have my game up right now. Let me see. Let's pull it up so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So as you see on the map right here, this is Raising Hell on the left side. That is basically what it is, and it has 4 tiers to it, and there's a max tier that you can actually reach with it. So that is what the Raising Hell is. It's basically on the map, those little objectives you got to complete. So that is Raising Hell. But we're going to get on to that. So for those unfamiliar with this feature, Raising Hell unlocks in chapter 6. It requires our favorite toy man, I'm not about to read all that, to complete ties and the combat mechanics and exploration. Once you complete the face-off, one of the Brainiac hit squads, we're also planning on giving those hit squads a bump up so they can drop better loot rewards. That is good. That is good. Because actually, when it comes to the hit squads with the Raising Hell, they're not that hard, to be honest. They're really easy to defeat. So if they're gonna drop better rewards, making them a little bit harder is understandable. So I'm cool with that. I don't really mind that. But I'm glad that they're changing this, because if you're just doing missions in Metropolis, just trying to get promethium, it takes forever. Like there's literally no point in even doing those missions where you could just farm those red little loot like worms, whatever. But we have another one when it comes to the mutator balancing, the boom and affliction immunity. Y'all don't know how much I hate those two mutators. They are so aggravating. Boom is already bad regardless, because if you're a melee person like King Shark, your whole build resolves around being in the fight. And if you defeat an enemy or do a shield harvest or a suicide strike, you immediately lose your health and become one shot immediately in that mission when you're doing incursions. It makes no sense that it's like that. And the same thing for the affliction immunity. You have to get crits on enemies first before you can even apply the effect to them, which is not good at all, because some characters not really relying on their crits like that is crazy. But let's see what they talk about in the feedback for it so we can see what they're changing. So they stated that we noted the feedback from a lot of players that certain mutators are frustrating to play with, and they limit the option to availability for you in combat. The culprits are Boom and, to a lesser extent, Affliction immunity. First, we want to talk about a little more about the mutations in the in-game overall. Address these specific ones. Mutators are supposed to act as a player. We know about this. Like it just changes the play style, all that good stuff. We already know about that. Well, having said that, we appreciate that Boom might be restricting the way you play, especially when playing with Harley and King Shark. We are therefore considering excluding suicide strikes and shield harvest from triggering Boom. Okay, that is good. That is good. That is good. So that you can still use all your abilities and still have to consider positioning carefully when taking on enemies with your other attacks. Okay, I'm fine with that. We're doing suicide strikes and doing shield harvest. That is fine. I do not mind that at all. That is a good change, in my opinion. I like that. Hopefully they take this in consideration, because this is a really good change when it comes to the Boom effect. We're also considering modifying the affliction immunity so that the effect will be removed from enemies whenever they take damage rather than critical hits. That's another good change. That is a good change. They need to do that. Hopefully with these changes, that the high mastery level combat will still require strategic play and positioning, and it will open up the build and playstyle possibilities further. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these changes before they go live. So please let us know what you think. Everybody in the comments, or go to their Twitter or whatever, please say you agree with this, because this is very good. Having where the Boom will not be triggered from suicide strikes and shield harvest, and for the affliction immunity, it will get removed on enemies once you do any type of damage to them, which is easy to do. So this is a W change. Honestly, those are the two afflictions or modifiers, I guess you could say, that really holds back when it comes to the incursions and the high mastery tier. So I wholeheartedly agree with this. This is a very good change right there. And we got lower tier legendary items. Our intention with legendary gear is that it will be a viable part of in-game builds, in some cases even cornerstone items in the build, in other cases to implement items to notorious or infamy says gear. We are seeing several powerful legendary items to get a lot of mileage at higher level mastery levels, which is fantastic. However, we think there's some room for other lesser used legendary items to find a home with more experimentation. Some of these lower tier legendary items are not really being used in in-game builds, as they simply do not seem to be able to keep up with the raw stats that other legendary, notorious, and infamy sets give. We're taking a careful look at this, but we action anything we would really love to hear. If you have discovered legendary items that you think would be great in the build and you're not using due to it falling behind in terms of damage output, or be it too situational, too hard to trigger or maintain, let us know. Thank you for all the feedback you've been sending. We hear and we see you. We're looking forward to sharing more details of the coming patch for the first season soon, and it's gonna be a laugh. Okay, so I can see what they mean when it comes to the legendary items, because let's take a look at the legendary items real quick. When it comes to like the lucky charm, the only ones that are really good in my opinion is this one with the crits, because you can just spawn live grenades on enemies at their feet, depending on how many critical hits you could get. So I 100% agree with this. Is a very good build to have. I agree with this one. Successful critical reloads increases your crit chance by 10% and critical hit damage by 30, and it lasts up to 20 seconds and it stacks up to 5 times. That is very good. These two are very good legendary items to have on a build, depending on what you want to do. Now, when it comes to this is actually good. This is not bad at all. It depends on what you want to rock. If you don't want to have it on your weapon, you can rock it on this one. And I think there's another one that yeah, this one. Attacks that would ordinarily kill you or revive you instead with 100% health and 50% shield. I think this can be good, but I feel like this is just way too situational. I really don't see a lot of people rock this, because in theory, this sounds good, but I don't know. Like, passing up having the live grenades and having that crit chance and critical hit damage and the crit hits give me traversal attack resource. Having this just, I don't know. It just don't seem like good enough to be on that spot. And same thing for this one. Like, critical reloads now replenish 25% of your ammo reserves for your current firearm. That's like, man, you do 50% more damage to enemies that are below 50% health. That's not bad. I just feel like it's pretty meh. And critical hits generate 2% shield. This is actually good. This is really good. I rocket this on Deadshot. This is really good. Now, the ones I can say that are really lacking is the shield mods when it comes to the legendary tier. These are really so situational and just don't really have no effect. Like, you can see, I don't barely even have any legendaries, because every time I get a legendary shield mod, I delete it. There's no point of using them, because we have the Bane set and we got the heat wave molded skin and the turtle shell to rock. So it's really no point of rocking a legendary shield mod, if we're gonna be honest. Like, it's just way too situational. But everything else is fine, I would say so. When it comes to the legendary weapons, well, some of the melee legendaries, the grenade legendaries, they have some good ones in there. It's just very situational. The traversal mod is good. It's just some of the other ones are really lacking. So I can see what they mean when it comes to the legendary items and not getting into play, but that's pretty much it. That's overall what they put in the developer update. Overall, I have to say, this is pretty good. A pretty good developer update. They're letting us know what is the top priority, that they're really going hard on trying to fix the server issues and the login issues. And of course, they sprinkle in a little things with them changing up the Prometheum gameplay loop, doing the change to the boom and affliction immunity modifiers, and them looking at to buff some of the legendary items that are not getting used as much. So yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, they pretty much letting us know what they're doing. So overall, this is pretty cool. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this below. It's Laajune here. I will see you guys later, and I'm gone. Peace.